Hi everyone, my name is Igor Popov. I'm the Chief Economist at Apartment List. I really hope you and your family and friends are doing well, staying safe. What I wanted to do today was to recap some of the big storylines in the rental market that we have been unearthing, analyzing, and following throughout the course of Q3. We'll probably look back at Q3 2020 as a wild and memorable time with lots of storylines, but in the rental market in particular, three things really stood out to us. There was really a continued change in the distribution of rental demand throughout the rental landscape in the country. Renters' search behaviors evolved, number two. And then number three, I think we continue to see non-payment of rent throughout the country be a persistent issue. And I wanted to just dive in a little bit into each of those three. In terms of where renters are looking to move and rental demand throughout the country that's affecting rents, we've seen a big change really since the start of the pandemic that's really continued to accelerate throughout Q3. Markets that have in the past few years seen a tremendous amount of inbound rental demand have been the established job centers like San Francisco, DC, LA, New York, Seattle, as well as the emerging tech hubs like Nashville, Denver, and Austin. Since the start of the pandemic, we have seen these markets really cool down such that there are fewer people from other parts of the country looking to move to those places. And we see that reflected in a strong way in really a reversal in rents in those markets, where rents have been growing very quickly. They're now cooling off and slowing down. Renters are instead actually moving to those markets' neighbors, those markets that are seeing a big uptick in searches, especially coming from outside of the market, are places like Riverside and Virginia Beach and Sacramento and Tacoma. So renters are not moving to the big job hubs the way they were in the 2010s, but they're not moving too far either, perhaps hedging their bets on what the future of remote work or needing to come in once a week, whatever that world will look like. Renters are still close to those big hubs, but not necessarily in them, and that's really affecting the distribution of rents throughout the country. We saw in Q3 a big bounce back in search traffic throughout the whole industry. Now, if we look at this week, we're actually at a greater Google search volume for the apartment industry than we were a year ago. And renter searches are evolving as well. So we are seeing actually quite a bit of unusually high demand for short-term leases in particular, so leases fewer than 6 months. I think, again, reflecting a lot of this uncertainty in the economy, as well as personal uncertainty that's being felt throughout the country today. On a somewhat lighter note, we're seeing a dramatic uptick in the number of renters that need to find pet-friendly places. So I think shelter-in-place has led to many more renters looking for places that will accept dogs, cats, and potentially other pets as well. But I think one thing that's continued to be surprising throughout the pandemic as well is that the demand for shared amenities and community level amenities that where there's been a lot of investment over the past 10 years really, that continues to be really strong. So people are not scared off from wanting communities or homes with pools that have access to gyms or other shared amenities. Demand for those factors remains strong in our search data. And a final trend that continues to be, I think, persistent and disheartening is really the volume of missed rent payments throughout the country. We're still seeing a very elevated level where renters seem to be ending the month at about a 10% missed payment rate, starting each month at over a 30% missed payment rate. And this has started to improve a bit throughout the course of Q3, but continues to be a very serious issue where, again, in October, about a third of renters are entering the month with some sort of accumulated rent debt. This has led to a lot of new renegotiations and really new arrangements that are being struck all across the country between property managers and their tenants. But this will be a place to really continue to watch in the economy, because we all know the importance of rent payments for the domino effect of economic transactions that they create, and with stimulus conversations at the moment shut down or stalled, relief does not seem to be around the corner for many of these renters. However, many renters are not too far behind. So of those that have some accumulated rent debt, about half appear to be less than a month behind on their rent. So many renters are making sacrifices throughout the country to really try to stay as current as they possibly can, but having serious trouble doing so. Those are just some of the storylines, but would love to dive in further. Please, of course, feel free to reach out to the team at Apartment List to discuss more. And you can follow all of our research at our blog on apartmentlist.com/research. And stay tuned too for our regional webinars where we dive into some of the more local data to unearth some of the trends that are a bit more market specific. Hope you're doing well. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.